Hi, I'm Elaine Penhall and I'm here talking to Alex Tan. We're talking today about how you create the right environment for a mentoring conversation, both as mentor and mentee. Just a little story, if I may, before we start, Alex. When I was doing a lot of mentoring, well pre-COVID, within different organisational setups, it was very, very common to go as an external mentor, an external coach into a business, and they would give you a cupboard, essentially, to do your conversation in. So it was usually kind of dark, a little bit smelly. It was like the cupboard that nobody used in a very, very tiny room, and it was horrible. And then you were expected to have these big conversations. So generally, I would go for a walk with my mentee. And the other thing that happened was being in a room with a glass wall, talking about things, because, you know, as a mentee, sometimes things are quite personal and they become quite sensitive. Talking in a room with a glass wall with a coffee machine the other side. And that, again, was not ideal. And I think we have moved from that, where we did think very carefully about what exactly is the right environment to have a conversation that may well stray into personal topics as well as business topics, because it's very hard to pull the two things completely apart, into an environment now where we do everything on Zoom or on Teams, and including all our mentor-mentee conversations. And it's very difficult then to encourage, I think, mentors and mentees to think about the environment that they're in. Sam was talking to us earlier about mentees who actually find themselves in between meetings and they're sitting in the car having a conversation. Mm-hmm. That must be quite difficult. What's your experience of this?
I think when we spoke earlier about having the time and respecting the time that your mentor is actually allocating to you, that undivided attention, that they will make sure that they are in an office or somewhere that is that space for an hour to be able to catch up. And whenever I'm booking time to speak to my mentor, it's making sure that I have sort out my diary to make sure that I'm there, I'm committed, I'm listening, I'm focused, I'm dedicated to spending that time in an environment where you can actually make sure that you can speak openly. It's really important. Like you said, it's uncomfortable if you're in your car, for one, but also if you're engaging in these conversations where, like you said, Elaine, that personal matters do crop up, and it can be quite emotional when you're speaking, that you want to make sure you're in a safe space to be able to be very open, because you're not going to benefit fully from your mentorship if you're not being open and honest and being real, because that's why you are on that journey ultimately. So I would just recommend to anybody that hour, that's sacred, that's priceless, that's invaluable. So take the time to make sure you're somewhere where you can be open and free in your conversation, because then you're going to get the best out of your session by making sure you have got that correct environment. So I think that's vital.
Yeah, and that's certainly for the mentee, and then the mentee being able to expect of their mentor that they're within a safe environment, they're not being heard, because the conversation is confidential. That's part of the contracting process, if you like. It's confidential conversation. So the mentor also needs to make sure that they're in an environment where they're not being overheard, they're not being interrupted, and they will have that space for the entire hour and a half, whatever it is, of the conversation. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to think about it so that everybody can be open and honest and straightforward in the conversation and in that space, instead of being distracted by things that are going on around. Thank you.